Okay, let's take up the, what is this, U4A2 quiz. I got all the questions here, so let's whip through this. Which equation is in slope y-intercept form? Where do you have the slope and the y-intercept? So you want something like this, y equals mx plus b. You get your slope and your y-intercept, and if you look around, nope, 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 yep. Okay, so that's that one. Y equals 3x minus 1. There's your slope, 3, and your y-intercept is there. Next up, which one is in standard form? And standard form is ax plus by plus c equals 0. So which one of those looks something like that? A number in front of the x, a number in front of the y, and then another number is equal to 0. And you look around, this one's close, this one's not close, this one's not close, this one is correct. And question number 3, which has a 0 slope and a y-intercept of -2? So let's think about that for a second. Here is my x and y axis. Which one has a 0 slope? Remember, there are two special types of lines, the vertical line and the horizontal line. And then you can ask yourself, one of these has undefined slope, one of these has 0 slope. Which one's which? That keeps coming up. I'm not doing anything illegal, trust me. It's just out of date stuff. And that threw me off. Which one has 0 slope, which has undefined slope? Well, just picture this for a second. If you're on a roof and your roof is flat, and somebody said, hey, what's your slope on this roof? How steep is your roof? You say, it's not at all. It has nothing. It has no slope at all. So that's your 0 slope. And if I said, hey, what's the slope of the wall? I don't know. That doesn't make sense. That's not a really good question. You know, like, here's the slope of a roof. Here's your house. There's a fantastic house here. That's you. You have a roof like this, and then you have options, and you say, oh yeah, here's a slope, and then here's a steeper slope. Maybe I'll have a steeper roof for some reason, or maybe I have a flatter roof like this. And you get flatter and flatter and flatter, and then you get a roof that's completely flat, which is not good in Canada because you get all the snow on top. Here's the snow on top, and you get a leak, and then that's not good. So that's a 0 slope. And then if I said, hey, I'm going to build a new roof, my roof's going to look like this. This is my roof. Here's my house. And now I'm going to build a roof. And another roof like that. Well, you can't do that, okay? That's just silly. And that's what this is all about. That's undefined. So straight up and down is undefined. So which one of these is that? Well, this guy has a weird slope. That guy has a weird slope. Or has a regular slope. And then you look at these two. Y is equal to -2. Y is equal to 2. Well, this says the intercept is -2. So you know, down here. So a y equals line is the guy that goes like this, right? Because y is always the same. Whatever x is, I move x1, y is -2. x2, y is -2. x 100, y is -2. x -6, y is -2. Always -2. There you go, like that. And the next question, we're back to our undefined slope. So here's my x and y axis. Undefined slope is a guy that goes straight up and, it's not straight up and down, straight up and down, a line like this. And these are always the form x equals a number. So x equals 4 if I get to 4, and I have a slope here, or sorry, I have a line here that goes like this. X is always 4. Y is whatever y is. If y is 0, x is 4. If y is 1, x is 4. If y is -6, x is 4. Always, always, always like this. X equals 4. Undefined slope. Doesn't make any sense as far as the slope goes. And if you look at, and we will get to that, delta y over delta x, the problem is that my delta x never changes. So if I, in this case, I have a number, whatever y is going to be, something divided by 0, and something divided by 0 is undefined. In the other case, I had, so if I go back to this one, my change in y is nothing, and my change in x is something. So something divided into 0, so 0 divided by something is always 0. So this is your 0 slope. Your 0 slope. This one here is undefined. That's your undefined slope. Okay. Number 4, which equation has undefined slope? Oh, I just did that. Number 5. Slopes that are positive. This is a blue question. I don't know why it's in blue. Slopes that are positive do what? Okay, so we read in English like this. I'm reading slopes that are positive. Left to right. If you read Japanese comics or Hebrew, maybe you read right to left. But in English, we read this way. So when we read this way, we talk about lines this way also. We read words that way, we read lines that way. So something that goes like this is a growing line, or it has a positive slope, okay? And if you go, no, this line's coming down, look at it, it comes down like this. No, well it does, but that's not how we read it. We talk about it going from left to right. So what happens? The line's going up. If it goes up, then it rises to the right. Right? As you go to the right, it rises, and that's what we call positive slope. It gets bigger. Okay. Okay, good. It doesn't rise to the left, horizontal and vertical. That'd be negative. Horizontal has 0 slope. Vertical has undefined slope. Let's move on. 6. Calculate the slope of the line going through this and this. So I have 2 points, A and B. A is -4, 3. -4, 3. B is 0, 6, 0, 6. And the reason I'm drawing this is to show that this line that I'm going to calculate has a positive slope. So when I'm done, I should have a positive slope. And I'm going to go delta y divided by delta x. So I take my x1, y1, x2, y2. So I'm going to go y2 subtract y1. It doesn't matter which is your x and which is your, or sorry, it doesn't matter which is your x, which is your y. It doesn't matter which is your 2 and which is your 1. So if I call this point 1 or I call it point 2, you'll have the same numbers. You'll have two negative signs. The negative signs will be in the opposite spots, so but they will cancel out. So if I said this is point 1 and that's point 2, it wouldn't matter. So just follow the steps. Y2 is 6, Y1 is 3. So my y's change from 6 to -3, and x2 is 0, x1 is -4, so minus 4, and then what I have here is sorry, what I have here is 6 minus 3 is 3, and 0 minus 4 is 0 plus 4, and I have 3/4. So there's my slope. It's positive. Looking at this here, this isn't to scale, but looking at it here, it looks like something that would make sense. Okay, it's not a very steep line. It's not a very flat line. A over 1, up 1, over 1, up 1 type slope, delta y over delta x, 1 over 1, has a slope of 1. Is something that rises at a 45-degree angle. So I look at my line here, it's somewhere around 45 degrees. Like I said, this isn't really to scale, but regardless, it makes sense. 3/4 makes sense. Okay. Calculate the slope with a rise and run of 9 and 3. So we also talk about delta y. So slope is delta y over delta x. It's also rise over run. And what that means is if I have a point here, my initial point, and then I have a run of 3, so I go over 3, and then a rise of 9 means I go up 9 to get my next point. Then I connect the dots, and then I have a line that's like this. So this line's fairly steep here. And then you look at other things. You always have, we usually talk about our runs in positive. We usually go this way. We go left to right. And then our rise can be negative or positive. So if I've had a run of -9, for example, I would go over 3 and then down 9. Okay, so I would have a line that would look like this, coming down like this. So my rise of 9 and my run of 3, 9 divided by 3 is 3. There's my slope. So I have a steeper line, a fairly steep line, I guess. And if I go over 3 and up 9, like I did here, and this isn't even to scale, it would even be steeper, something like this maybe. That's something would have a bigger positive slope. Finally, question 8, calculate the equation of the line that goes through these 2 points, and then we want y equals mx plus b form. So, step 1, let's get the slope. So, delta y over delta x, delta y over delta x. This is what I would do. There's a few ways to do it, but that's fine. x1, y1, x2, y2. So, I'm going to go y2. I'll do everything. y2 subtract y1. x2 subtract x1. y2 is 0, y1 is -6, or 6, sorry, -6. X2 is 5, and then I'm going to subtract 1. So 5 subtract 1, that's right. -6 over 4, so I have, in lowest terms, -3/2. I've been asked before, are fractions fine, decimals fine, what's better? Decimals and fractions are interchangeable as long as the fraction itself terminates, so, or the decimal terminates. So when we have halves, that is exactly equal to -3/2 is exactly 1.5, -1.5. So that's great. You can write that like this, or you can write it like this. It doesn't matter. Where we have a problem is things like this, non-terminating decimals. So if I have something like 3 is about example, 8 over 3, okay, 8 over 3 is about 2.6 repeating. Okay, but it's not, actually it is exactly 2.6 repeating, but it's not a terming decimal, so you can't write it as 2.67. You can't write it as 2.6 repeating. We don't do that either. So when you have a fraction that is over 3 or over 7 or over 11, these numbers here, they won't terminate. What else? Over 9, over some over 6s also, I guess, lowest terms. Anything in lowest terms over 6, like 5, 6, that doesn't terminate. So these guys here will not terminate, and they will be written as fractions. But if you have a terminating decimal, you can write it as a decimal, like that. So then if I want, there's my slope, so there's my m, and I need to find b. And to find b, what you'll do is you'll sub m into the equation, so mx plus b. You'll sub m in here, and then, so m is negative 1.5, and then you'll use one of these points to find b. So you can use that one or this one. This has got a 0 in it, which usually turns out to be nice, actually. So I'll use this point. So then I'll sub in my y, 0 for my y, and for my x, I'll put 5, and then plus b. That's b, not 6. Okay, and then I'm going to solve for b. 5 times negative 1.5, or 5 times negative 3/2 is going to be 7.5, negative 7.5. So then when I bring that over, it'll be 7.5. Sorry. So let me go on slowly. That's going to be negative 7.5 plus b, and solve for b. B is 7.5, and then when I rewrite the equation, let me just add some space here. Oh, what did I do here? When I rewrite the equation, let me pull that up. No, I don't want smiley faces. I'll take 0. I have y is equal to mx plus b. Like I said, my m was negative 1.5. I found out my b was 7.5, and then I just put my y in and my x in. Okay, so solve for m, just like you did before, delta y over delta x, rise over run, or whatever that is. Then sub in a point, either point, into here to find what b is. And you can check also. Now, if you want to check this, what you can do is say, okay, let me use the second point to check. My second point was 1, 6. So I have 6 is equal to negative 1.5 times 1 plus 7.5, which is negative 1.5 plus 7.5, which is, in fact, 6. Left side, right side, check. 6 is equal to 6. Happy face. That's not a happy face. Whatever. Happy face. And done. Okay, so that's it. That's the quiz. Hopefully you did well. If not, hopefully you can make sense of stuff now. Take care. Bye.